Thank you. Keep money.
Chris, if you could mute yourself until the meeting starts.
Okay, let me see if I can remember how to do that. I'm used to being on the other. Hold on.
At the bottom left corner, there should be a microphone where you can mute yourself, Commissioner Warner.
Let me see if I got it. I'm used to Zoom on a PC, not a iPad. Let me see.
Oh. I can also mute you.
Why don't you do that? That'd be great.
While
Really
you
appreciate
find
it.
that, sure.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Are you able to unmute yourself, Commissioner Warner? No. Okay, I unmuted you.
Good. There, I'm unmuted. Thank you.
Did
Are
you
you using
find?
the iPad, Chris?
Yes.
You might want to use the two buttons on top. One of them makes you louder, one of them makes you quieter.
Good.
Just like an iPhone, except they're off by 90 degrees.
Right.
There are two buttons on the top.
Oh, I see them. I see them.
You can
Stop
make yourself
video or
quiet.
mute.
Yeah.
Yep. Got it. Thanks, John.
Okay. You're welcome. That drove me nuts for a while too.
No problem.
6 o'clock.
We're ready to start the meeting, Chair Pont.
Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to the regular Tuesday, July 19th meeting of the St. Helena Planning Commission. There's a couple paragraphs I need to get out of the way first before we get rolling. This meeting will be conducted pursuant to the provisions of Government Code Section 54953 as amended by AB 361, which authorizes teleconference meetings under the Brown Act during certain proclaimed states of emergency. The Governor of California proclaimed a state of emergency related to COVID-19 on March 4th, 2020. This teleconference meeting is necessary so that the city can conduct essential business and is permitted under Government Code 54953 in order to protect public health and safety of attendees. Consistent with Government Code Section 54953, this Planning Commission meeting will be held via teleconference only and will not be physically open to the public. Commission members and staff will be teleconferenced into the meeting by audio and/or video. The meeting will be conducted via Zoom webinar. The Planning Commission meeting will be live cast on Comcast Channel 28 and on the city's website, barring technical difficulties. Those members of the public wishing to participate must do so remotely via Zoom electronic meetings in the following ways: either by logging onto the Zoom link located on the meeting agenda and entering the meeting ID, or by calling a listed phone number and entering the meeting ID. Public comment for Planning Commission meetings will be accepted via email to publiccomment@cityofsthelina.org. All public comments must be emailed by 3 p.m. prior to the meeting. Emailed public comments will not be read out loud, but will be publicly available and attached to the online Planning Commission agenda. Secretary Camaro, do you have a little more information for us?
I do. Thank you, Chair Pont. Let me share my screen with instructions. Okay. So for members of the public that wish to participate in public comment by phone, you can do so by dialing 669-900-6833. At the prompt, you can enter the meeting ID 812-6463-9202. You can press pound, and during public comment, press *9 to speak. That will be all, Chair Pont. Thank you.
Thank you. Which brings us to the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Rothfeld, would you lead us on the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Secretary Gamera, will you take the roll, please?
Commissioner Anderson?
Here.
Commissioner Rothfeld?
Here.
Our newest member, Commissioner Warner?
Here.
And Chair Pont.
Here. Which takes us to item 3, presentations and public recognitions. This is to allow the city clerk to actually swear in our new planning commissioner. So Cindy, Chris, would you take it away, please?
One moment. All right. Well, look at you, Chris. You're already ready to go. So if you will please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Christopher Warner,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purposes of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will
and that I will
well and faithfully discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, and I'll see you sometime this week for you to sign your oath.
Right. Thank you, Cindy. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for having me.
And welcome, Chris.
Thank you, John. And thank you, my fellow commissioners. I look forward to listening and learning and working with you.
Welcome. That takes us to item 4, public forum. This is an opportunity for the public to address the commission on items of interest to the public that are not listed on the agenda. Because of restrictions imposed by the Brown Act, the commission may not engage in discussion nor take action on matters not described on the agenda. Ms. Gamero, is there anyone out there who wishes to speak under public forum?
I do not see any members of the public with their hand raised, Chair Pont.
Thank you. That takes us to consent items. Members of the commission or the public may ask that any items be considered individually for purposes of consideration of alternative action, for extended discussion, or for public comment. Unless that is done, one motion may be used to adopt all recommended actions. We only have one this evening, which is the meeting of our Special Planning Commission on June 30th. Is there any members of the commission that wish to pull the minutes for further discussion? Seeing none. Secretary Gamero, is there anyone of the public who wish that item pulled?
No, Chair Pont.
Then a single motion from the commission would be appropriate.
A motion to approve the minutes?
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Ms. Gamero, will you take the roll, please?
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Rothfeld,
Yes.
Commissioner Warner,
Abstain.
and Chair Pont.
Yes. All right, that takes us to public hearings. We have two tonight. Item 6.1 is a request by Patrick Rue of Erosion Wine Company for adoption of a resolution approving a use permit amendment in order to operate an eating and drinking establishment with the accessory brewing of 200 gallons per year and expanded hours of operation in what is currently 2 tenant spaces fronting Main Street in the existing building located at 1234 Main Street in the Central Business Zoning District. Director DeRosa, please, whose item is this?
This would be Senior Planner Aaron Heacock.
Okay, oh, excuse me. I need to do one thing here. I need to open the public hearing and to ask if any commissioner has had any ex parte contact on this item. If they have, now is the time. All right, excuse me for getting that incorrect. Now, Aaron.
Thank you, Chair Pont. I'm going to share my screen real quickly here. So you can get that to work. Hopefully you can all see the aerial now. So as you noted in the introduction, the existing building at the southeast corner of Main Street and Hunt Avenue has tenant space fronting Main Street that has historically been bifurcated into 2 tenant spaces, a Suite A and a Suite B. Suite A was previously occupied by the 21-seat Thornhill wine tasting space, and Suite B was occupied by Cricket, a women's clothing store. Erosion Wine Company took over the wine tasting space in July 2019 and acquired the lease to the former Cricket space in March 2021. The applicant was, and also in March 2021, the applicant was granted administrative approval of a temporary use permit, allowing the expansion of wine and beer tasting activities into Suite B. The approved TUP was valid for 1 year from the date of issuance. Continuing the use beyond this 1 year required that the applicant file an application for a use permit amendment. And as required, I'm going to scroll down here, the applicant submitted a use permit amendment in order to establish eating and drinking uses in those 2 tenant spaces at 1234 Main Street. The applicant has put an opening in the wall previously separating the 2 suites so that the entirety of the space can function as one business. And you can see that here to the left of your screen. The outdoor courtyard patio in the center of the building would also be utilized as part of the expanded uses. A total of 85 seats are proposed. 73 of those are inside and 12 of those are outside in the patio. The applicant is operating under a Type 2 ABC license. Having food service allows them to serve beer and wine from other breweries and wineries. In order to maintain this Type 2 license at this location, they need to produce approximately 200 gallons of mead annually. And to provide maximum flexibility, the applicant is proposing hours of operation of 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. The hours of operation apply to the entirety of the operation. No exterior modifications to the building are proposed, and a sign permit application must be submitted for any new or modified signage. Permitted seating will not exceed capacity as allowed by the fire code. Total suite and outdoor area capacity is approximately 140 people, according to the fire department. And there's a few site photos here showing the outside of the building. Here's some of the inside. The bottom photo here is the courtyard area. You can see the restrooms, the 3 tables, and some additional tenant space toward the back there. The kitchen, the front, and the inside. We did receive one public comment related to this item. It was a letter in support of the application and the proposed project. In speaking with Chair Pont about this item, he did suggest a new condition of approval to be added to the attached resolution. That is on your screen now. It says if any of the tenant spaces in the courtyard patio area are leased, access to those units must be maintained during business hours. Happy to wordsmith that as the commission sees appropriate. The eating and drinking establishment at 1234 Main Street has been in operation for over a year through that temporary use permit process without any issue. The proposed project would support both the local and visitor serving component to the city's economy by providing jobs, tax revenue, and additional amenities. Staff believes that the project meets and/or complies with the required findings to approve a use permit amendment and is recommending that the Planning Commission determine that the project is exempt from the requirements of CEQA pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15301, excuse me, and accept the required findings and approve the attached resolution as amended, granting use permit amendment approval for an 85-seat eating and drinking establishment with accessory brewing of 200 gallons per year and expanded hours of operation in the front 2 tenant spaces of the building located at 1234 Main Street. That concludes my presentation. I am happy to answer any questions that you should have when the time is appropriate and the applicant is on the call.
Thank you, Senior Planner Hickok. Does any member of the commission have any immediate questions for staff? Seeing none. Mr. Rue, if you care to address the commission, please do so.
Hi there. Sorry, it took me a few seconds to unmute there. Thank you for your time and considering this application. We've loved being part of the community of St. Helena, and in the year that we've had our expanded operation, it's been great to become, a little bit more of the neighborhood, or kind of a lot more locals are coming in because we have some pretty cool beer and just a fun place for the community to gather. So appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Does any member of the commission have any questions of either staff or the applicant at this point? I don't see any hands raised. So that would take us to the public testimony portion of the hearing. Ms. Gamero, is there any member of the public that wishes to speak either for or against this project?
Let me give it a couple seconds here to see if any member of the public raises their hand. And I do not see any hands raised.
All right. I will close the public hearing for now. But Ms. Gamero, if anyone does show up, I would reopen. So the public hearing is closed and it is back to the commission for discussion. Does anyone wish to start the ball rolling on this one?
I'll start.
Commissioner Anderson.
I think it's a great plan, and I think it will add a lot to Main Street and the local community, and I don't have any problems with it. Nice work.
Thank you. Commissioner Warner, please.
I too support the proposal and agree with my fellow commissioner on the benefits to the community.
I'll echo the same sentiments. I love walking by and seeing people in the business. I think it's great, and there seems to be a lot of locals in there too. So I think it's a really great addition.
Thank you, commissioners. I will make a clean sweep and say I too support the project. I do have one concern. It's not so much with the project itself. It's with the water neutrality analysis. This project was deemed to be water neutral. If you look at our statutes on water neutrality analysis, if this was resident, it probably wouldn't be deemed water neutral. I just have a problem with our water neutrality analysis that assumes businesses are water neutral if they stay in the envelope of the building in which they're in, which this one is doing, pretty much regardless of how they modify it or what their water use goes up to. So this project is adding a kitchen. I would think that would increase water use. I think perhaps our water neutrality analysis needs some work to make sure that in the future, projects like this would be compelled to do a water neutrality analysis and indicate they were not water neutral. Just like if this was a house adding a kitchen, it would have to do a water neutrality analysis and come up with some way to be water neutral at the end of the day. I just think on balance, commercial should be treated the same as residential in this case, that both of them should be water neutral and assessed if they are not. But that's not any ding on this project. This project did everything correct that they were supposed to. It's our code that once again needs some work. That's my 2 cents. All right. Ms. Gamero, is there any member of the public at this point wishing to testify for and against the project?
No, Chair Pont.
Okay, so at this point, I think a motion from the commission would be of value. Could you post the recommendation again, please, Aaron? There.
I'll make the motion. I move that the Planning Commission determine that the project is exempt from the requirements of CEQA pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15301 and accept the required findings and approve the attached resolution as amended, granting use permit amendment approval for an 85-seat eating and drinking establishment with accessory brewing of 200 gallons per year and expanded hours of operation in the front 2 tenant spaces of the building located at 1234 Main Street.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. Is there a second?
I second.
I think Marika beat you by a little bit.
That's okay.
All right. Secretary Gamero, will you tally the votes, please?
Yes, Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Rothfeld,
Yeah.
Commissioner Warner,
Yes.
and Chair Pont.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Ryu. Thank you, everybody. That takes us to 6.2, request by Megan Collins on behalf of E&J Gallo Winery for adoption of a resolution approving a design review and planning commission sign permit in order to install exterior improvements at the Orange Swift Cellars located at 1321/1325 Main Street in the Central Business Zoning District. I will open the public hearing and start off by asking correctly this time if any member of the commission has had any ex parte contact on this item that they wish to divulge. I do not see anybody. Okay, great. That would take us to the staff report and Director DeRosa, who is doing this one?
We have Miss Chantel Power, our associate planner. Thank you.
Very good. Take it away, Chantel.
Hi, good evening. This is application PL 22-017 as a request for design review and planning commission sign permit at 1321 and 1325 Main Street. This is the Orange Swift Cellars Tasting Room located in the Central Business District. Oops. Okay. There we go. As you can see, there's just some minor demolition that's proposed. On the interiors is mostly walls around a storage area, cold storage, and an existing bar. And then 2 walls of the outdoor shed will be removed to create an outdoor cabana where an additional bar will be placed for tasting. On the storefront, you can see there's kind of an outdated current application on the building. That will all be removed, including the arched the archways with stone veneer will be removed. The concrete underneath will be sandblasted and sealed, and a new sign is proposed. And we do need Planning Commission review and approval of this sign, due in part to the size, but mostly because there's a neon element to the size, to the sign. Additionally, there's a small art installation on the front of unit 1325 proposed. The old Orange Swift sign will be removed, and the entryway will now be, the entryway will now be moved to 1321 as the main entrance to the business, and 1325 will essentially be closed off for access. At the rear of the property, again, any of the exterior awnings and any additional veneer or siding will be removed. The concrete will be sandblasted and sealed. And we also have the addition of some corten steel gates and fencing. And this is fronting Money Avenue at the back of the business. Okay. We do have a minor accessibility issue currently shown on the plans, but it's easy to resolve. So we're going to add a condition, but to get down to what the issue is, there from the face of the rear of the building to the cabana wall, there's approximately just under 5 feet of access space. But when measured from, there's a few existing, it looks to be piping or utility lines of some sort on the rear side of the building. And then with the addition of the proposed planter, that would reduce the access to about 37 inches or 3 feet 1 inch. And ADA requires 48 inches of space. So I believe removing this planter, or at least the portion of it along this walking area, will resolve that issue, and a condition will be has been added to for all ADA accessibility compliance. Oh, I'm having trouble getting out of my slides here. So sorry. There we go. All right. So getting to the sign permit, section 17.148.040B, this is Planning Commission sign permits, requires sign permits for the consideration of illuminated signs, including neon, signs that are larger or of unique design or location, or signs that, in addition to those permitted with an administrative permit. So anything that's not already currently allowed under an administrative sign permit has to come before the Planning Commission, and that is the case tonight, as we do have a neon element to the sign. And section 17.148.060 specifically addresses neon signs. And again, reiterates that for neon signs or elements of a sign that contain neon, this is regulated by the Planning Commission. Each business is limited to only one neon sign. No more than 25% of the sign area allowed for the primary frontage of the business shall be neon. And the business, and this neon is only permitted as part of the business identification sign only. No neon open signs or any other goods or product services signs. All right, so there is a little bit of a discrepancy in what was provided under the staff report. Not necessarily a discrepancy, just a different measurement that was taken. The staff report measures really just the sign area of just these neon tubes. We are now providing an additional method of calculating the sign area, which basically draws a box around the neon and doesn't exclude, the interior of that neon element. So given that, the total storefront area is 41 feet 1 inch. The total sign area of the entire sign is 26.87 square feet. The total neon portion of the sign, again, just drawn around the box, around the neon element, is 11.87 square feet. And this equals about 28.89% of the primary frontage when taken on a ratio of 1 square foot of sign area to 1 lineal foot of primary frontage. So that's just to let you know that the staff report indicates that the neon portion of the sign is only 1.95 square feet. And that is technically true, but there are different ways of calculating. And this way shows a larger square footage for the sign area for the neon element. Additionally, we had a question about the brightness of the sign. The applicants have indicated that the maximum lumens would be 61 lumens per square feet, and that the sign will have dimming capability. And we are adding some conditions of approval. So the first one is prior to issuance of certificate of occupancy, the building official shall verify that the new sign does not exceed 61 lumens per square feet and that it is installed with dimming capability. The applicants have already indicated that this is what they will be doing, so they should be able to comply with this condition. The second condition that we're adding states that upon any future submittal of an application to subdivide the tenant spaces, in other words, if the tenant spaces are subdivided again at some point, now the Planning Commission must reassess the sign, since we are calculating it using the entire store frontage of both tenant spaces. And then the last condition that we're adding is regarding that ADA accessibility issue, and just making sure that all of those accessibility standards will be in compliance prior to issuance of a building permit, and as verified by the building official. Okay, brings us to our recommendation. So staff recommends that the Planning Commission determine that the project is exempt from the requirements of CEQA pursuant to section 15301 and accept the required findings and approved the attached resolution granting design review approval and a planning commission sign permit for the proposed exterior improvements to the building located at 1321 and 1325 Main Street with the following additional conditions. Prior to the issuance of certificate of occupancy, the building official shall verify that the new sign does not exceed 61 lumens per square feet and that it is installed with dimming capability. Upon any further submittal of an application to subdivide the tenant spaces, an application for planning commission sign permit will also be submitted to reevaluate the signage for the tenant spaces. Prior to the issuance of a building permit, the building official shall verify ADA accessibility, including ensuring there is no planter adjacent to the cabana north elevation in order to maintain a minimum 4-foot width clearance. And with that, I can take any questions that the planning commissioners have. And we have several members of the applicant team available for questioning as well.
Does any member of the commission have any questions for Ms. Power at this time? No? Thank you. Then we'll hear from the applicant. If the applicant would wish to speak, please do so.
Hi, I'm Megan Collins from E&J Gallo Winery. Anthony Fish is going to speak on our behalf. He's probably trying to get off of mute right now.
Hi, this is Anthony Fish. For some reason, my camera's not turned on, but I'm hoping you can hear me.
We can hear you.
We can hear you, Mr. Fish. Please.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Well, it's a pleasure being here. Thank you for considering the project. We're the architects working with Oren Swift on enhancing the property. Ms. Powers did a wonderful job presenting, so I don't think I need to go into a bunch of detail, but I wanted to say that the goal of the design was to create a high quality design that highlights the individual characters of each building. We're very excited about the potential of the building and what it adds to St. Helena and what it adds to Oren Swift. I firmly believe that bringing the project to a cleaning it up and creating the outdoor patio and cleaning up the front elevation will improve both Oren Swift and also St. Helena. And I'm open to any questions anybody might have and look forward to hearing from everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. I presume that includes your address. Does anybody have any questions of either the applicant or staff at this point? Seeing none. Ms. Camaro, is there any member of the public that wishes to speak either for or against this project?
I believe I saw Mr. Chris Fowler had his hand raised earlier. I can be wrong, I'm not sure. But at the moment, I do not see any hands raised.
All right. We'll keep that in abeyance in case somebody does. In which case, if there's no more questions from the commissioners and no members of the public wish to speak, I will close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission for discussion. Is there any member of the commission who wishes to speak on this project? I don't see any hands, but as usual, will say a few words. Our sign ordinance at this point, and we're in the process of changing it, is a bit unusual in that it sort of gives the commission blanket authority once it's beyond the size that can be administratively approved. So we could approve any size, any brightness, any shape, any form we chose to. but I would like to compliment the applicant for keeping it down, not wanting to cover the whole front of the building, not wanting to do 100,000 watts. We've got something, I think if I did the math right, approximately equal to basically a 100-watt light bulb, which is great. We're in the process of fixing the ordinance again, and it will come back to us at some later date. But right now, they could have asked for the sun, the moon, and the stars. I'd like to compliment the applicant in keeping it down. Otherwise, I think this is a good project for the city, and I am looking forward to it. Does anyone else have anything to add? Since I don't see any hands, a motion would be appropriate. Yes, Commissioner Warner.
I just want to support what you said, Mr. Chair, in terms of being able to rationalize and make a little less vague the signage requirements, both in a positive way. And so I have no questions further, but I agree with your sentiment about the sign ordinance coming back to us.
Thank you. Ms. Power, could you put the proposed motion up again, please?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. And once again, a motion would be appropriate at this point if a member cares to make one. Commissioner Anderson.
As soon as I get this back up there, I can't remember all of it.
Sorry. Sorry, having a little problem getting the
All
the
hinges
sharing
on
back
you,
on.
Chantal. If you can't get it,
Okay, sorry about
thank
that.
you.
There we go.
This is a motion with a new condition of approval. Is that?
Three
Yes.
new conditions of
Okay.
approval, yes.
I move that the Planning Commission determine that the project is exempt from the requirements of CEQA pursuant to section 15301 and accept the required findings and approve the attached resolution granting design review approval and Planning Commission signed permit for the proposed exterior improvements to the building located at 1321 and 1325 Main Street with the following additional conditions. Prior to the issuance of the certificate of occupancy, the building official shall verify that the new sign does not exceed 61 lumens per square foot and that is installed with dimming capabilities. Upon any further submittal of an application to subdivide the tenant spaces, an application for Planning Commission sign permit will also be submitted to reevaluate the signage for the tenant spaces. Prior to the issuance of a building permit, the building official shall verify ADA accessibility, including ensuring there is no planter adjacent to the cabana north elevation in order to maintain a minimum 4-foot width clearance.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. We have a motion, a second. Secretary Gamero, will you tally the votes, please?
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Warner,
Yes.
Commissioner Rothfeld,
Yes.
and Chair Pont.
Yes. Thank you. That concludes this item and takes us to scheduled matters. 7.1, nomination, election of a new planning commission chair and vice chair and designation of the commission secretary. With the commission's indulgence, I would like to start with the designation of commission secretary first. And if somebody would care to essentially make a motion that we designate Ms. Gamero secretary, I would certainly appreciate hearing it.
I will move to make Ms. Gamero the secretary for the planning commission.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Chris. All right. Pending Secretary Gamero, will you please tally the votes?
Thank you, Chair Pont. We have Commissioner Rothfeld,
Yes.
Commissioner Warner,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
and Chair Pont.
Yes. All right. So that takes us to election of a new chair and vice chair. I presume nominations for chair are now open if anyone cares to make one.
I'll nominate John for chair.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Do we have any other nominations? All right. Ms. Gamero, will you tally the votes, please?
Commissioner Rothfeld,
Yeah.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Warner,
Yes.
and Chair Pont. Do you accept the
I-
nomination?
I will abstain, but accept the nomination. Thank you. That means vice chair is now open. If somebody cares to make a motion to appoint a vice chair, I would appreciate it. I don't see any hands moving, so in absence of any hands moving, the chair actually can make a motion. And I would like to move that Commissioner Anderson be appointed vice chair. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Gamero, will you tally the votes on this, please?
Chair Pont,
Yes.
Commissioner Warner,
Yes.
Commissioner Rothfeld,
Yes.
and Commissioner, Anderson, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I will make sure you get a smaller mallet, but one of your own. Yeah. Okay, that takes us to department reports. Director DeRosa, do we have a report this evening?
We do indeed. Well, first of all, comments about the agenda items. It's really excellent to see so much excellent investment in our downtown, and down the road seeing some additional activation of those spaces. So I'm really thrilled to see everyone support those projects. And then of course, big welcome to Commissioner Warner and joining us. There's a lot of, as we mentioned to you earlier, there's a lot of big projects happening. We're going to be participating in a joint meeting on Thursday with our housing element with the City Council. So you all have your Zoom invite. So again, a big welcome to him joining our commission. And then I just also wanted to highlight again the email I sent this week about the Sonoma State Planning Commissioners half-day training. That again is on August 13th from 1 to 4 p.m. And if you've never been to one of those, they had those on hold during COVID. So this is great that there's an opportunity to just sink in, and it's very relevant issues of planning topics that are happening in California. So I think you'll get a lot out of that. And then just note for your calendars, our next Planning Commission meeting, which would normally be scheduled August 2nd, is going to be canceled. And then the following meeting, we do expect to have items that would be August 16th. This technically, I think, is going to be our last Zoom meeting. So you'll be getting information on, coming into Vintage Hall for our meeting on the 16th. And for those of you that haven't participated in a meeting there before, encourage you to come early or come to the City Council meeting next Tuesday and just kind of watch the room set up and, and excuse me, the participation. So we're here to be liaison and make sure that's a smooth transition. And I think that wraps it up for me for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Director DeRosa. That takes us to agenda forecast. As always, there is a list of current planning projects available on the city website. You'll find the link on the agenda. This is also the time for any commissioner to bring up an item they wish to see on a future agenda. Do we have any requests this evening?
Let me,
Yes.
John, this is not a future agenda item, but can I make a general comment about what I saw to be it's a non-substantive comment about interim manager McCann's praise for the effort on the housing element work I saw this week. I just want to echo that as a newbie on the commission, I joined procedurally, not substantively, obviously, because it's not before us, in praising the staff and my fellow commissioners for a job well done on the housing element.
Well, I'm sure Commissioner Anderson and Commissioner Segura would appreciate that. There are two persons on that committee. We will actually be meeting on this item on Thursday.
Right.
So if you want to save that as a clip and just play it again, I'm sure we can do that on Thursday.
I will.
Okay. With that, unless there are any other comments or requests from the commission, we have reached the favorite part of saying we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Have a good evening. Thank you all.
Good evening.
Bye-bye.